Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This will be the autumn update. So continuing with my self-imposed theme of catch up, touch up and finish, um, I'm going to add another word to that: rework. I've looked at some of my models, and as I said in my previous post, I'd rather have uh, 10 models of good quality rather than a number of models of middling to poor quality. And so I'm looking back at my models and my old friends, and having a look and seeing how I can improve them. And so this will be another posting showing you that. So I have two models which I'm going to be working on over the next few months on this particular post. One is the uh, pillar of persuasion. That's this particular one there, which I always felt was looking it wasn't looking finished, and I want to finish it off in much of the style as my Sword of Vengeance, which I finished off recently. So that the Sword of Vengeance is up there, and this will form the second ship in my battle fleet, which is part of a future history, which I'm going to explore, which I'll tell you more about in this particular post. And I'm also looking at my Marauder, which as you can see, I've already started to take apart because it was too busy. It was getting bigger and bigger, and I didn't like the shape of it in the end. I kept looking at it and felt disappointed at the shape of it. So I'm slimming it down. I'm making it look a little bit more um, Star Wars like, but I think it will still be part of my future history. It'll still be part of the same um, thing that I want to explore. But so it's another ship which is part of the same universe as the other two, which I'm looking at. So here are two ships which I'm going to rework, relook at, and make better. So let's begin the journey, and hopefully I can do it both at the same time. But you know me. Anyway, we'll see how we get on, and thank you for coming on the journey. So work has begun today on the two models, and we're concentrating on the bottom side of the Marauder, the Chimera Marauder. And what I've done is started to fill in gaps and bits and pieces that wasn't filled in before, looking at the detail that I can get on these as well, um, and making it look, as I say, more chunky and more streamlined. So putting in those details as well. And as I say, we'll be going backwards and forwards, top and bottom, as we look at things, but I'm just filling in major gaps and major holes, which look obvious, as well as around the sides, filling in these bits here, using as much of the original model as I can, because I don't want to, because a lot of it's painted and weathered anyway, so I want to be able to use the original model just to so I don't have to do too much, too much finding of new material. So that's on this side, and then just travelling along, looking at various bits that need to be filled. And by using original parts, rather using existing parts that came from the original model, there's a lot of detail already there, and therefore I can just reposition it and relook at those areas without too much worry, too many problems. But there will be some additional bits that I'm going to be sticking on. Anyway, so that's where we're at this morning, and that's going very well, I think. So continuing with the Chimera Marauder, as you can see, I'm radically altering its shape. Not not well, I say radically, not completely changing its shape, but altering it so that it looks, as I say, less one-sided, let's say symmetrical, a little bit more, a little bit more. It makes a little bit more sense in the shape-wise. So what have we done? So the main thing that we looked at is putting some back fins onto the Chimera, so that it looks like it's got some fins at the back there. It gives it more of a kind of aircraft feel to it. We're looking at the side panels, giving them a little bit more structure. Certainly around the back here, giving it, making the structure a lot more comprehensible, because it was a bit slapdash. And here you can see the back fins, which of course will marry in a lot better when they've been primed, but they look better like that. I'll turn it again around, and that side as well. So just making the thing pop a bit better than it did before. And again, the fins at the back here. And I have been working also on the top radar dish. And I've incorporated the radar dish into a turret as well. So that's what it's going to look like. And that will be placed around there, on top there, eventually. So yes, that's what we've been looking at. So I'm not, I'm not going to radically alter it any more than that. But what we're looking at now is basically going over it again, looking at the details and getting the greeblies right. But already I feel that looks a lot better than it did before. As I say, this whole series of ideas of getting my old ships that I was never totally happy with, and re-looking at them and making them better, and that's where we're going. So onward and upward, we'll continue and see how far we can go. But already I think the profile is looking good. And yes, basically I'm taking ideas from the Alien dropship, the Betty in Alien Resurrection, plus of course ideas from the Star Wars universe, marrying them together to creating my own hybrid of a kind of freighter, two-man, three-man freighter. But it's not necessarily belonging to the Star Wars universe. I think it's going to belong to my universe. Right, onward and upward, let's continue. So more detail has been added to the sides, as you can see, and we're working our way around the ship. I've also put what I hope will look like sort of mock hydraulic systems onto the fins at the back, so that it would assume that in flight the fins can be adjusted up or down. At the moment they're in the down position for landing. And we've done a bit of work at the front, but I'll just turn it around and you can see the other side of how we're working. That's the other side working backwards along the front there. Get a bit more light onto that. There you are. So yes, so we're working our way around it. Oh, and also I've added more of a kind of landing landing door. What do you call it? Cargo door. Cargo door at the back. Yeah, that's going to be a cargo door, so that we can see how they get in and out of the ship. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this to one side, and then start working on the larger pillar of persuasion at the back there. So because as I said, I'm going to try and work two models at the same time. So right, we've reached a stage with this with the Marauder, and so now we'll go to the other one and go backwards and forwards. That way we can keep the ideas fresh and moving. And so we begin the reconstructive surgery on the pillar of persuasion. So already what I've done is I have taken away the bottom structure, which was forming, but it wasn't a fin, it was a bottom structure. I've already taken some of that out. I have taken out the conning tower, and we're going to start working on that. Putting it down here, for instance, moving that out of the way. So that comes off. I've already started to look at putting a better structure there on top of the conning tower, just to make it a little less busy, more chunky. And on the back of the here goes those lines again. On the back of the ship, I've put the this structure here, and we're going to be looking at that, and then we'll start designing the engines. So yes, so already we've taken him apart and looking at the idea of rebuilding. Just placing the fins there, you see straight away that that's the kind of idea I've got in mind, of replacing the structure I had there with proper fin-like shapes, which I think that's going to work well with the overall shape. All right, so let's begin this reconstruction. So concentrating on the back bit here, the engines, I have started to fabricate a better engine structure, giving the engines more, well, more engines basically, because there was only one, and now I've got 4. Yeah, if I turn it round, you can see what I mean. See, 4 at the back, which I will perhaps even extend further outwards. And I have also started to look at the fins underneath here to see what they see how they're looking, and the fins will be different on this model than they were on the sword of vengeance, because that was a kind of one fin with structures sticking out, and these fins, well, they're 2 fins basically, and I'm going to have some other structures so it doesn't look so thin, but I'll bulk out the fins a little bit more, but there's 2 of them. I'm going to try and also create well, these fins have got shuttle bays on either side. The other fin is exactly the same, and I might have another shuttle bay there. Then the conning tower is coming along, but I'm going to take that off and, as I say, add a little bit more detail, put a little bit more filler in it, and then there's going to be lots of greeblies and details added along the front as well. But this is going to take a bit of time, because as I've said in the past, when you start adding detail, you suddenly realise you've got more areas then to fill. But the overall look of the ship, I think, is looking better, and it's beginning to resemble some kind of prehistoric predator. That's where I'm getting my inspiration from, in the sense that you've got the feet, the little arms, and then the forward-facing head. So it's a kind of, yes, a predator. Oh, and the tail coming up there. So I didn't quite, I have to lie, I won't lie, I didn't intend it to look like that, but it's what's becoming obvious in its kind of shape. But because it looks like a predator, I think that kind of works as a design aspect. Right, well, let's continue, and as I say, we'll continue on this make. I might go back to the or probably will go back to the Marauder at some point, because as I say, I'm trying to work on 2 of them at the same time. Okay, so quite a bit of work managed this weekend. Starting at the back, you can see a lot of fabrication and development of the new engine housings at the back. done a lot of filling in and getting that smooth and merging in, but unlike that, but it's working now. I'm just going to turn that around a bit, like that. So yeah, so that's working there, and then coming forward to the front as well, more work done on the front. There, more work done on the front. As you can see, I have started to fabricate the top bit and the bottom bit so that we get a bulge, which is what I wanted to do on my previous one, the Sword of Vengeance. But I said at the time it wasn't working out particularly well there. Well, I've worked out how to do it on the Pillar of Persuasion, so that's going to work quite well. I've kind of done the top bit. I need to now do the same structures on the bottom bit too. But overall, yeah, that's looking a lot better now. Happy with that, and we're making headway. So a good weekend's work, I think, on the Pillar of Persuasion. And yeah, I'm adjusting it now, making it look more like a dreadnought. Lots more work to do on it though. But I'm thinking that that's looking a hell of a lot better. And the profile is looking good, and it's really looking like, as I said, this predator, this prehistoric predator, which I had an idea about. So that's yeah, it's looking good. Okay, right, onward and upward. We'll continue, but that'll be on the next post because I've run out of time this weekend. But we will continue. And then, as I say, yes, I do have to get back to the Marauder, which I did promise I would do. So I won't. I don't want to overdo it on any one particular model, otherwise I'll lose focus. Right. Anyway, let's continue. Right. Well, since my last post, I've done quite a bit and got put in bits and pieces throughout the week. So I kind of forgot to film a lot of the construction because I was just coming up for 5 minutes or more and then doing a bit and then coming back down again. But as you can see, I have now more or less completed the fabrication on the front, so that's now looking much better than it was. And I have added some bits and pieces, and I'll try and get rid of those lines again. At the back as well, as you can see, the back has been fabricated more, and I have made a better profile of the spine as well. I have just bulked that out a bit. So hang on a second, I'll get in a bit closer to the back and you can see what I've tried to do. So that's the back. I'll just light it up a little bit better so you can see it a bit better. There you are, that's the back looking there. And what I've done, as you can see, I've added these kind of supports to the engine housing so that the thing looks a bit more bulky. And I think that works quite well. So that's the back bit, and we'll go round to the front, and you can see how I've added bits to the front as well, and there as well. We're getting into the nitty gritty now of the fabrication, adding the detail that's necessary, but not too much. Let's go down to the front and have a look at the front as well. That's a closer look at the front and how we've developed that. And I have, along the sides, the greavers along the sides, I've tried to fill in some gaps and some holes there so that it looks a bit better. So yeah, so that's where we are at the moment. Now the next stage will be to have a look at the fins. I want to make those fins look thicker. They look thicker on the inside, but not on the outside. I want to look thicker. I want to develop structure along here because it's just a thin facade at the moment. I want to develop a structure along here, and we're also going to have a look at this back bit here along these arms that come out. I want to bring that structure out there a bit more. All right, well, we're getting there, we're getting on, and happy with how it's coming on. So onward and upward, let's continue. Okay, so we've started to improve the back of the arms there. The other side is the same. So that's the structure that we've started with, and I think that's a vast improvement on this bit of rubbish that I had on it before, which was yeah, really quite crap, to be perfectly honest. Well, we won't go. Well, I was starting out, and these were the fundamental skills that I had then. But I think I've developed better skills since then. So yes, that looks much better. So we're going to now put aside the pillar of persuasion for the time being and go back to the Marauder to continue with the Marauder and develop some more ideas on that and try and move that on a bit as well. And as I say, go backwards and forwards. But yeah, on to the Marauder now, and we'll see how far we can get with that a little bit more. So we're back with the Marauder, and what I've done is a radical rethink on the undercarriage. As you can see, I have completely taken it all off. I have junked it because I didn't think it was working, and I wanted to create something which had a bit more symmetry to it. In other words, symmetry to with the actual undercarriage itself, and making it look neater and better. And what I've come up with is this. This is the underside of the Star Wars A-Wing, and this already comes with two undercarriage parts, which can be retracted back into the main body. So that is going to go on the on there like this. Oops, there you go. And that's going to form the back or rather the bottom of the ship. You'll see it more clearly when I've done it. And I've also fabricated this part here, which is on a magnet, and that's going to go here, which will form the back undercarriage part. So it begins to look far more like, as I say, a World War II bomber plane, because World War II bombers had two front-facing wheels and a black back supporting wheel, and this kind of has the same configuration. And of course, that's in the landing position. If I want to display it in the flight position, I just have to take off the undercarriage, the back bit, and retract those two bits there. It makes more sense, and it's more symmetrical, and I think it's going to work. So we will carry on and attach this, and then see what it looks like. So in the past, I've talked about putting a square peg into a round hole as being one of the skills you needed to do scratch building, and this is a case in point, because what I've had to do is fill in lots of gaps in my bottom part where the bottom landing legs are around here, so that there's no gaps when it sort of like attaches to here. And again, I've had to fill in lots of bits and pieces of plastic to sort of make sure that when a thing is lying on here underneath, it doesn't look so obvious. You'll see it when it's attached, what I mean. But that means taking it off, putting it back on again, taking it off, putting it back on again, and attaching bits and pieces to it so that it begins to make sense. But now I'm going to try and attach the bottom fuselage to the top, to the undercarriage here, and we'll have a look at it. But this has taken me a whole afternoon going backwards and forwards, cutting pieces out, like I say, like a jigsaw, making the thing fit. But in the end, it's beginning to fit and make sense. Right, let's attach it. Then I'll flip it over, and you'll see what the finished result is. I hope it's going to work. So I do think it's actually working. There you are. There's the landing legs down in position. The struts are down, and the undercarriage is in position. And I do think that actually works. And the nice thing is that I'll show you it in flight mode, because it also works in flight mode as well. But that is a result as far as I'm concerned, and it really does start to bring out this hybrid Second World War bomber kind of motif on the ship, which I'm really pleased about. But that is working. Right, I'm going to turn it round and you can see it from another angle. So that's from the front angle, and those landing struts coming out from the pods, from the circular pods. I haven't done anything to the front yet, so I'm not sure what I'm going to make of those. I might make them into atmospheric engines, or something else, but possibly, or guns, but possibly atmospheric engines, because that will also continue to give the idea that the thing is can fly in space and in the atmosphere. But that is pleasing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like if I was going to put it into flight mode. And although you can't see it too well, because I haven't painted it and it doesn't look particularly brilliant at the moment, but you can see the idea that in flight mode it also works, giving it some kind of heavy bomber kind of feel to it. So really happy with that. Yeah. So we're working our way through the Marauder, and yeah, it's coming together nicely. So out of necessity, the ashes of destruction, the roses of success. I'm really happy with that. That's going to work nicely. Right, onward and upward. So this afternoon has been the tedious effort of filling and sanding. I always find this a tedious bit, but a very necessary bit, of course. But yeah, this has been filling and sanding the bottom into the main structure, so that it all looks as if it's all one, and filling in all the other bits and pieces around, making sure that it's looking okay. Lots of filling still to do, of course, but I just wanted to get the bottom done, and so that's looking better and looking smoother and looking part of the whole. So that's looking all right, and it begins to make sense along the back. So as I said before, the main hangar door will be there in the closed position, but you can see how it drops down to allow egress and entrance into the ship itself. What's missing at the moment, of course, is the top antennae and turret, but that's what it looks like at the moment. And I filled in all the other bits along the wing sections there. Well, not the wing, it's not a wing section really, it's the pod support, you know. That shows you a better idea of what it looks like there. So yeah, we're getting there. Now I think that's the actual structure done. So now we come to the fine tuning of the greeblies and the and filling in the holes and the gaps. But I think we're more or less there on that particular front. I'll just put the top turret on, and you can have a look at that as a whole there. Hang on a second. So there's the top turret on there, and we'll get round to the putting in to priming it, I think, shortly. I now got to just think about what I'm going to be doing at the front on the two atmospheric engines, which I've decided will be atmospheric engines rather than missile pods or anything like that. I think that will work. Okay, so that's the end of this Sunday, where I have, as I say, done the necessary but tedious work of doing all the sanding and the filling, which makes a difference, of course, but there's lots of more sanding and filling to do. But I wanted to make sure that the undercarriage was well and truly bedded in. Right, let's continue. So more work has been done on the Marauder. As you can see, I have put some put a primer on it now, and I have developed the atmospheric engines at the front. But now the primer is added, the thing begins to really pop in together, sort of merge in together. I've scratched the primer. I've put two layers of primer, rust and then grey, and then scratched it so that it appears that the rust is coming through the grey. That's on that side. The other side is more or less the same, but I'll turn it round. And as you can see, the primer really makes the thing pop now. Now what I'm thinking of doing is, in a kind of tribute to the Betty, the ship from Alien Resurrection, I think I'm going to then, as another wash it in yellow, and then scratch back the yellow, so the yellow looks like the ancient paint job on top of the rust and the primer. That's the idea. I think that will probably work quite nicely. But the shape is now beginning to come together very nicely. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so what we need to do now is finish it off, really, before we go back to the other ship at the front, at the back there, the Pillar of Persuasion. So yes, what I'm going to do now is just finish it off by adding the little greeblies, the little bits, and then the merging in the filler and so on, just to bring it all together. But we're there. I think we really are there. I'm not going to do much more to it, really, because I don't think there's any need to. Yeah, it's working on all levels, I think, and that's going to be it. And that, I think, has improved it no end, if you ask me. And what I'll try and do is find a stand for it so that I can put it into flight as well as landing modes. Right. Okay. Let's continue and see how far we can take it. So I hummed and hawed about this for a long time, and I suddenly realised I could do this. I've added front wings. So you've got the back wings over there, and the front wings here, which obviously I haven't painted yet. Now, it shouldn't work, but it does. I think it does work. And that adds the extra little bit to this model, which is what I was looking for. In profile, I'm really happy with the profile. In profile, like that, sorry, not profile, front on, it really looks something. I'm really happy with that. And I think it works. I think this works really nicely. And as I say, it still has a spaceship feel to it, but it also has an atmosphere. It also has a World War II bomber feel. Certainly has a World War II bomber feel to it now. And so I might have changed the colour scheme slightly, not to yellow, but to more of a World War II bomber feel to it. But that works really nicely. And from that angle, as it goes round, I really think that works. I'm going to put it on its landing legs now. We'll just have a quick look, see what it looks like on its landing legs. I think that's going to work. So there we are on its landing legs. And yeah, I'm really beginning convinced. I'm convinced that this works very well. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, with the radar dish in total. Yeah, this has improved the Marauder no end, and considering what it was and now what I've developed it into, I think this is a really legitimate looking ship. So just adding now a few more of the greeblies, I think, but this is yeah, it's worked really well. So greeblies now, which means what I mean by that, I mean some more pipe work, filling in some of the gaps, and then finishing with the paint job. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and have a look at old World War II warplanes, bombers in particular, and see what kind of colour scheme I can use as a springboard for this ship. But that's yeah. As I say, it shouldn't work, but I think it does. I really do think it does, and it really adds something quite special to it. Right, all right, onward and upward. Let's continue. So I just wanted to show you that sometimes it's the little details of a fabrication or of a construction that really makes you feel satisfied. And this is a case in point, because this was, I attached the back leg to these magnets. So this magnet here was curved. It had to be curved because it fits the curvature of the hull of the airframe. And because it was curved, the magnet, which was flat on the leg, was coming up at an angle and was wobbling. So what I had to do was I had to find. You see, this is the original magnet here, and I had to find another magnet made of softer material, which I did have, and I joined it to the existing magnet, and as you can see, I've made a curved magnet. It goes up at an angle, so I put it in at a wedge, and now the leg fits neatly into position and doesn't wobble. And I'm really happy with that. And of all the fabrication I've done on the model, that's the most satisfying, because it was a problem which I'm happy to have solved. And that's the joy of scratch building. That really sums it up. When you find you've got a little bit of a problem, a little bit of an issue, and you have to work at it to find the materials and the solution, the mechanical solution to the problem, which I think I've done. So now the thing sits properly and doesn't wobble, and the whole thing looks good. So I just thought I'd share that with you, because that sort of sums up scratch building in a nutshell. Right, onward and upward. So I've decided that I'm going to see the Chimera Marauder through to completion before I go back to my pillar of persuasion in the background there, because now that I've started the Chimera and got so far, I want to finish it. So just to show you that I have added now some extra tail fins at the back. I have reinforced the back landing strut, because it was wobbling again, but I've reinforced that. So now that's the overall shape now, and my goodness, I really do think that those those fins at the back have really set the ship off really nicely. So that looks yeah, so that's coming along really nicely. So we are now in the finishing stages, and that's why I'm going to continue with the Chimera until it is done. We're just now going to add some details, little paneling bits, just to bulk it, just to sort of bulk it out, and to add those little final finishing touches to it. Then we'll do the painting, and then we'll finish it. So yeah, that's the way it's looking at the moment, and I'm really happy with that overall shape. I think that the ship now, as I said before, looks really a legitimate ship, in that the fact that it's it's functional, and it looks like it could exist in a universe, in a kind of a science fiction universe, be it Star Wars or some other universe. Anyway, yeah. I've also thought about the colour scheme, and I might just go back to the idea of a yellow colour scheme, because that yellow there in those tail fins, I think will set it off. A yellow colour scheme with red stripes, but a faded kind of yellow colour scheme. Anyway, that's the idea. We'll continue. Yeah. we're getting there. So, like I said, I intended to finish the Chimera Marauder before I went on to do the Pillar of Persuasion. And jumping ahead, I have now finished all of the detailing of the fabrication and put another coat of primer on it, as you can see. So we'll just go through it. What I want to do now is finish this off with putting in a wash of faded overcoat, probably yellow with red stripes, just to finish this off. But that's that side of the ship, and that's the other side. So as you can see, I've also filled in the atmospheric engines. I've just put in foot in the front to make them look a bit more jet engine-y like, and filled in around the back as well. I'll turn the ship around and you can see the other side as well. The back on that side. And the amount of detailing along the side there, which I'm quite happy with. And then you've got the undercarriage, which works very well. And as I said, the undercarriage is also detachable, so that works. And then you've got the tail fins there, and the engine mountings and the engines on that side, going round to the front again. So yeah, I think the fabrication is now complete. Happy with that. And so now we're going to go on and just do the final painting. I think the overall Chimera Marauder looks a lot better now than it did before, an awful lot better. And yeah, finally becomes the ship I wanted it to be. But I suppose taking it all in all from the very beginning to the end, it's taken me about a year to get to this particular position, but that's all right. Sometimes you have to go through lots of changes before you get to the final position of where you want to be. Right, on with the painting, the final painting then. So I've given it several washes now, and dirtied it down a bit more. Yes, I've added a little bit more fabrication, but just a little bit more, nothing too much. I'll dirty that down and merge that in shortly, and then doing the final bit of painting of some details, and then I think we're almost there. I'll conclude with a wash that brings out the panel lines, and then I think yeah, and then possibly a bit of dry brushing with some chrome just to bring out some more metallic bits. Then what I do at the end is I take a piece of sandpaper and scrub it all over with the sandpaper to rough it up and bring out some of the texture underneath, and that should be sufficient. Right, last little bit coming up then. So I've subtly scratched it with sandpaper to roughen it up a bit and get a bit more texture into it, and it's taken on the colour qualities of an old World War II aircraft, which is what I wanted to have. And now I need to finally work out a way of displaying it in flight mode. I've got it resting on these transparent perspex stands, but I want to raise the stands up a bit. So as I say, the thing can be displayed in flight mode or in landing mode. There's the little leg I've taken off it at the moment. The other legs are retractable. But yeah, that's what it's looking like at the moment. So we'll get the stand sorted out, and then I can do some final beauty shots. But I'm really happy with the weathering, how that's looked now. It's taken on a nice quality, and yeah, it does work well in the flight mode as long as I can bring it up a bit. Yeah, and I think that works. I think that works really nicely. So, as I say, yeah, we'll sort out the stand, and then we'll do some beauty shots, and then I'm going to call it a day on this one. I think that's it, and then I'm going to post. I think because I've done enough, and then when I've posted, we'll go back to the pillar of Persuasion there in the background, which has been there for some weeks. But as I say, I wanted to get the Chimera Marauder finished, which I more or less have done, I think. Right, on with the stand then. And there she is, the Chimera Marauder on the new stand. And this is the in-flight position. And I do think that works very well. So I'm calling it done now. That's the ship, and very happy with how it's turned out. And I'll show you it in flight, and also on the ground. But as you can see, I've added more greeblies around the side just to set it off a bit, and I've put a bit more detail along the top, and I scratched it with some sandpaper just to give it a feeling of texture along the top. I will turn it around and you can see it from another angle as well. There's another angle, and I think she looks really good in flight actually. I think it works really nicely like that. You just only get an idea of the detailing at the back there, so that was quite nice, like that. And again, she looks good from that angle as well. We'll turn it around again, and you can have a better look. There's the back engines, and again, I've added more detailing in some of the inserts as well, just to bulk it out a bit, and along the top there, as you can see. So that looks nice from that angle too. Happy with that. It's as I say, a reminiscence of the Alien dropship and the Betty from the Alien Resurrection movie, and well, some of the Star Wars influences as well, obviously. And she looks nice from that angle. Again, very happy with how the Star Drive engine has come out, and that looks nice. That's very, of course, very reminiscent of a Star Wars influence. And it's interesting how the two film franchises, Aliens and Star Wars, have sort of been a springboard for this particular build, but seem to have come together in a marriage of convenience. But it does work. And again, some of the greeblies there, and what it looks like from the front, from there. So yeah, that's worked nicely, I think. As I say, it looks good in flight. I think as a display piece, that's the stand really sets it off, so I can show it in flight, and it works. But now I'm going to put the legs down, and you can see that it can be displayed with landing legs. And there are the landing legs in position. And that works nicely in the landing position. So I've got a choice of display options. As I say, the overall shape is it works very well, I think. And so guys, that's the Chimera Marauder, the reworked Chimera Marauder. and very happy with how it turned out from the previous version. And as I said before, if you're not happy with a particular build, the more you look at it, the more it can be reworked and made to look better. Then go for it. Chop it to pieces, be bold, be brave, and rework the thing. Because you never know, you might turn something which was adequate into something that you really think works and really is a good, is a good build. Right, well, I'm going to post now. This is the Chimera finished, and then the next post will be the Pillar of Persuasion, finishing that one off. But I wanted to get this one close to finish and posted and out of the way. So the Chimera Marauder is finished, and I'm really pleased with that. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one very soon, nearer to the end of the autumn. So probably later part of November, I think. Alright then, bye guys, thanks for watching.